could build something better. Debris Station gathers the shattered pieces of my satellite and uses them to create a stronger one. Satellite Laser Balsam, show yourself!
You might see it. Yeah, never say die. Got to go.
Alright everybody, it's time for us to talk about the prince that showed up, dueled Sartorius, and got his ass kicked in 0 turns. That's right, it's Prince Ojin with a deck that I basically had to make up myself. He had a lot of cards, luckily, that did exist, but most of the cards did not exist, therefore I had to make this crap up myself. His deck is basically going to be a machine deck built around the Satellite Cannon. His Satellite Cannon card is a pretty interesting card since it can't be destroyed by level 7 or lower monsters by battle. And honestly, not that many opponents in this series even have a level 8 monster. But if they do, they can kill this Satellite Cannon before it becomes too threatening. Overall though, Prince Ojin is an interesting guy who just shows up, has a snarky voice, a snarky attitude, gets defeated by Sartorius, and then joins the Society of Light and takes on Jaden Yuki to see if he can take on Sartorius. And in that duel with Jaden Yuki, he showed off his fusion card, the Satellite Laser Balsam. It should be an interesting card in this series if anyone's ever able to pull it off, which the only way you will be is with this card right here. But moving on, let's go ahead and take a look at his deck. He's got Robotic Knights, just as machine normal monsters. Everything in here is probably filler from me. Decent attack, decent defense. He's got Battle Footballer, really good defense. He's got Yaiba Roba, not too good at anything. Mighty Guard, very bad at everything. He's got his boss monster, the Satellite Cannon, which is just a super solid monster. He's got the Heavy-Mech support platforms, which is just kind of nice. He's got the Steel Scorpions, which are kind of ass. He's got Cost Down, which is a combo he actually used in the show, which can be used with most of these crappy cards just to summon his actual good monster, the Satellite Cannon. He's got Graceful Charity, which is whatever. He's got Monster Reborn, which is whatever. He's got Polymerization, which is cool, if you ever are able to pull this off. I never could, even in the test duels. He's got Pot of Greed. He's got Soul Charge, which is really, 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 really good. Especially in this kind of a deck where you need to special summon monsters. He's got Soul Exchange, which is really good to summon Satellite Cannon. Limiter Removals, which is just busted in my opinion. He's got Mischief of the Time Goddess, which is completely useless. I put it in the deck because it's the card that let him attack on basically turn 0, or turn 1. But it doesn't work because they changed the card to not be used for anything, and it only be used for Valkyrie monsters, and they made it weaker in every way, shape, and form compared to the anime. But since it existed, I put it in the deck anyway. This card's 100% a brick. You can actually use it for cost down. You use cost down to discard this for cost down, guys. This card is useless to you and your opponents. It honestly doesn't work unless you have cards from the future, but since this is a card created in the past, it gets to be in this tournament. We have the Mystical Space Typhoons, which is kind of cool. He's got Rivalry of the Warlords in his deck, which I hate, but he does have it. Which means each player can only control one type of monster. For him, he's just going to say machine. He's happy. But everyone else is going to suck. And he's got 7 tools of the Bandit. And of course, his fusion monster, the Satellite Laser Balsam, which, by the way, must be fusion summoned once per turn during your end phase. This card gains 3,000 attack. If this card attacked, the increased attack returns to 0. After damage calc, if this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing damage. When you summon this card, you can end your turn immediately, and you'll have 3,000 attack. It also just happens to have 2,000 defense, which is very nice. Honestly, very nice. But you could just summon this card for 3,000 attack, and then you could just wait. If you wait 3 turns, you have 9,000 attack, and you could do piercing damage and kill your opponent in 1 hit. Most likely. But overall, this card is so freaking cool. I never was able to summon it in test duels. Probably never going to see it in the tournament, but it is there either way. So, we know what his deck looks like now, so let's go ahead and dive in to Prince Ojin's stats. Now, his stats, as you could see in the corner, they're weird. And the reason they're weird is this. Their attack stat is very low. Mostly because the cards don't show it. His attacking cards don't show attack points. They're 0 attack, 0 attack. Yes, they do gain attack, which is why he will get stronger. but since they don't show any attack, the average attack was ruined. If they were question marks, maybe I would have given him a break. But he can honestly be a great attacker, but you need to get this card, one of these in your hand so you can use it, or all of them so you can use this. His attack stat is nothing to talk about. His best attacker is Robotic Knight at 1600. It's not good. He at least has Satellite Cannon, but that takes a lot of time, so I don't know what you're going to do. Moving on to his speed stat, he actually does have speed. The reason he has speed? Union monsters. Cost down counts as speed. He's got Soul Charge, that's speed. Soul Exchange, tactical speed. He's got limiter removals, whatever. Mischief of the Time Goddess would be speed if he had Valkyria monsters, or if the card was based on what the anime said, but no. He's got tactical cards. Ignore. Moving on to his skill stat. Yes, he is one of the most skilled characters in this series. Now, why is that? None of these cards are skilled. Satellite Cannon is 100% skill-based. And do you want to know why? Because level 7 and high on lower monsters can't destroy it. A Dark Magician couldn't destroy this thing. If you just leave it in defense mode, it's invincible. It cannot be destroyed by battle. And there are very few cards in this tournament that destroy monsters by spell and trap card effects. You actually have to destroy this card by battle, which means you need a level 8 monster, or you need a good monster effect to save yourself. So this, tactical, very good. Heavy-Mech support platform can be used for stall technically, because it can make other machine monsters survive a turn. Steel Scorpions does destroy non-machine monsters, so that's kind of funny. It does actually have a little tactical play. Kind of like a slow man-eater bug. Let's see. Skill-based cards, Soul Charge, 100% skill-based. You do lose life points, but you could fill up your whole field with monsters just to guard yourself. You do that with some satellites or whatever, you'll be fine. Soul Exchange, tactical, because you do get rid of one of your opponent's monsters. Limiter removal, instant death. Doubles attack, crazy. Mischief, useless. Rivalry of the Warlords. This is why his skill stats maxed out. This card ruins so many people's decks in this series. There are a lot of people that use mixed typings in this series, and those mixed typing decks will be murdered by Rivalry of the Warlords. So, the characters that don't have mixed typings, this won't hurt them too badly. But the ones that do, it's just a complete... I was going to say a bad word. It's a complete annoyance. Look, I hate this card. I hate seeing it in Tag Force, and I hate seeing it in real life. This is going to be one of the most annoying skill-based cards in the game. And the fact that he only owns machine monsters makes it so he's even more annoying. Which is why this deck can totally be used as a stall deck. And if you dual pull off the fusion monster... No, it can't. It doesn't have the same effect of like, oh, level 7 monsters and below can't destroy it. But what it does do, it has piercing damage. And since this one does piercing damage, that counts as a skill-based thing. So, triple skill of stall. Stall and messing with your opponent. Stall and messing with your opponent. And that's about it. His skill comes from... Oh, and stall. His skill comes from stall until he could just beam you to death with his satellite cannon. And if you wait long enough to get all 3 of them and you fuse them, you could just do it with this cannon and attack for game after like 3 turns. After 3 turns, you'll have 12,000 attack. Because the first end turn doesn't count. So 3 turns, you have 12,000 attack. And whatever you pierce with 12,000 attack will do 8,000 damage. You win the duel. This card is going to win you the duel. It's way too strong. But you have to stall to make it happen, which is why you need to play skillfully. You need to play stally in order to pull off that combo. Moving into his defense stat, not bad. Robotic Knight is 18. 2,100 from the Battle Footballer. He could definitely stall with that. The rest of these are kind of ass, which is why it gets torn down. Satellite Cannon's a 0, so it's complete ass. Like, these cards would have maxed it out with 21, but then they got brought down because of Satellite Cannon stuff. This guy has 2,000, so he's fine. But the rest of these are ass. These 6 monsters are the only ones with good defense. And this guy's fine. So, overall, his defense stat is very usable thanks to Battle Footballer and Robotic Knight, but kind of crap thanks to everybody else. Overall, above average. Luck, no luck. No luck stat. Moving on to brick stat, actually doesn't brick that often. I use this deck multiple times. This deck will not brick on you. You will almost always not brick. The only time I bricked is when I drew some of these cards too early. It didn't have monsters in the grave. This is a straight up brick card. It doesn't do anything, so I guess there's a brick. Overall, he's not the most bricky person. He is more of an annoying character, but his deck is really fun to use if you like slow machine monsters. So Prince Ojin, the crazy guy that decided to build a mind controlling satellite beam and then gave it to a crazy person, that was really just like a light demon. I don't know. Prince Ojin's not a smart person. There's a reason he got taken over by the Society of Light. There's a reason he lost his duel in 0 turns. But when it comes to potential, I will say he does get a solid 3 stars. And I'm not joking. He deserves it. This deck can win the tournament. If you play it stally and you wait for your attack to slowly build on a satellite cannon or slowly build on your other cannon, or if you just wait for the fusion, you could totally win with this deck. Personally, when I use this deck, I won thanks to limiter removal. That's what really won me the duel, because I get satellite cannon to about 2,000, 3,000 attack, and then I limiter removal, and boom, I do so much damage to my opponent that they didn't know it was coming. Obviously, most opponents try to play defensively against you, but if you leave yourself in attack mode, you can bait them. You know, like they summon a big monster, like 2,500 attack, and a weak monster, and you take 3,000 damage, because the weak monster had like 500. You slowly build up, and then you hit them real hard, and it feels good with the limiter removal. Bait your opponent in is all I'm trying to say. And I hope that whoever decides to use this deck in the tournament has a lot of fun with it. I had a lot of fun testing it. Prince Ojin is a very interesting character. He made a very interesting deck, and that's going to be it. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I hope you guys are enjoying the Dynasty Series deck profiles. Bye-bye.